So I'm going to get a little personal with you guys today. I know some of you guys are probably like, who is this kid? He's 21 years old. He's trying to preach to us. What credibility does he have? I'm going to tell you guys about my story. That kind of brought me to this point, making videos and in my drive to help people. And like I've said before, I think it is God's calling for me to put myself out there and to help as many people as I can. So, to bring it back, in high school, I was a football player. I was really good. I had offers, 12 offers, I think. I was 3-star, if you guys know what that means. I was one of the best receivers in the state. I broke the Michigan receiving touchdown record. I think somebody broke it this year. Technically, I played 3 less games because COVID. So, Anyways, I was pretty good, right? I had a lot of friends. Everybody knew me for football. And my senior season comes around. I've been dealing with this foot injury for a long time. Nobody knew what it was. And I would have to tape it up every day, go out to practice, bust my ass, and it hurt, right? It was painful. And my trainers didn't know what was going on, and I was not willing to sacrifice my senior season, right? I had my goal was to get into the NFL. My goal was to get into college. My whole entire life, my dad drilled that into me because he was a teacher. He is a teacher, right? So you can kind of understand his perspective of things. So yeah, I was taping up every day at practice. It was painful, and we ended up winning the state championship this year. Actually, won 3 out of 4 state championships. We were a good high school team. And then I get to the off season, and I need to know what's going on with my foot. Right, it hurts when I walk. It hurts. It was just very tender. I go to see the doctor, and the doctor tells me I have a stress fracture in my sesamoid bone of my foot. I blame my mom a little bit for my feet because they have a high arch, and so there's a small impact point on my foot. Since I was a receiver, every time I'd make a cut or anything, it would hit the ground first all the time, and it caused a stress fracture. And so I seen this doctor. He told me that he told me this. I remember vividly. He was like, "You just simply weren't made to play football." That literally was my identity. That was me. I was a football guy. I was a superstar. I was the high school guy who was going to go to the NFL. I had everybody telling me. And then the doctor tells me this. And at that point, I was like, damn. Like, I started really getting my mind, right? Started getting my thoughts. Next thing you know, I see him again. And this time he tells me that I need surgery. I had the MRI, the CAT scan, whatever you get, X-ray, and they said I needed to get surgery. I was devastated. I did not know. I'd never had an injury like this. The only thing I did was broke my hand in middle school, running away from a teacher, smacking it on something. I never had to get surgery. And so at this point, I was like distraught. I was like, fuck, man, I have to get surgery on my foot? Now, me being the 17-year-old macho man, I thought it was going to be easy, right? Light work, right? Light work, surgery. I'm gonna be back right away. And then this is where things get a little spicy, okay? So I get the surgery. Completely was unnecessary. Didn't need to get the surgery. Thinking back on it, I got the surgery on my foot. I was 17 years old. This is still when COVID's kind of going around. I had to wear a mask and everything. I didn't even know if we were in school yet. Get the surgery, feel like shit for a couple days. I remember that night I got the surgery. I was sitting in my bed, had a big ass boot on. I probably have a video of it. I don't know if I'll pop it up, but I had a video. My foot would twitch nonstop. My toes would twitch nonstop for hours. I couldn't get any sleep. It was the worst thing ever. And I just vividly remember that point. I was like, fuck, bro, like this shit's not gonna be easy. This macho man, 17-year-old, has all the friends, has everybody, laying in bed with a fucked up foot right after surgery, thinking that I was gonna do all these things with my life. But then I end up in my bed. And this is the most transformative point in my life. I go from working out twice a day during COVID with my brother and dad. We would go to the gym. We were the only ones in there. every day, 2 times a day, I would be grinding, working out on top of the world. And then next thing you know, I'm laying in bed and I can't move for 6 months damn near. Or 6 weeks, I don't remember. It was a long ass time. It took me a long time to recover. And so you can only imagine what that would do to you, right? And while I was laying in bed, I started to actually digest content on the internet that would benefit me. I started to learn a little bit about the world. I started to get into the conspiracy stuff, you know? I started to really get into how money worked, where attention was going. And so being a 17-year-old kid, I had to do something. So I started to post on my Snapchat like 100 times a day. I would spam my Snapchat stories because I had an idea. And I had a phrase that I built over the time I was in bed called hashtag normalize being yourself. Yourself. Normalize being yourself. That was my hashtag. And I started to create a little movement in my community, right? I would post that all the time, spam my stories. I remember I was at like 500 views before I started posting, and then I skyrocketed to like 1,000 views on my story. You know how you can see the views on the story? 1,000. I was on top of the world. I was in my own world. And I started to get feedback from other people. It was such a left turn. I went from football reserved, keeping this public image to this guy who's, and then I do a left turn 180, start posting, spamming on my stories, telling people to wake the fuck up, that they're living in the goddamn matrix. This is before Andrew Tate, living in the damn matrix. Like, you need to escape, you need to lock in. I was making content like that back then. I was making content about literally everything when I was sitting in bed, and I seen it. It was working. It was working. I was getting views, right? Everybody was texting me like, what's going on? What's going on? Are you okay? Yeah, motherfucker, I'm okay. I'm just spamming my posts. If you talk to me in real life, I'm just a normal nigga, right? And that's one thing people misconception that they had about me, like I was crazy or something. I was just posting and I was different than everybody in my town. I was like, go to fucking California. You're gonna see 100 motherfuckers posting on their story 100 times a day. But I do it, and you guys think I'm crazy. You see that passion come out a little bit, because that's exactly how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. So I started to post every day, 100 times a day. Not actually 100, a lot of times a day. And then one day, COVID kind of settled down. We actually got to start going to school. And I think it was my first day back. Everybody's first day back. I was hype. I was in school. I was going to see my friends. I get a call from the office to tell me to come down. I was like, okay, whatever. I wasn't expecting anything. It's my football coach, a counselor, and my mom and dad in the office sitting down at a table like I just fucking committed a crime or some shit. They sat me down. I was like, fuck, bro. What's going on here? What am I getting myself into? And they start asking me a bunch of questions. Now, I can't remember the questions, but they were trying to interrogate me. And they were like, I remember this actually. They were like, Jace, we think you need to get a brain scan. I was like, what? A brain? For what? We can go get a brain scan. Ain't shit wrong with my brain. I'm just posting on my fucking story, showing some emotion, because you guys have forced me down this path of playing football like I'm this superstar, and that my life's all planned out for me before I even put my hand in the jar and try to make it to something else for myself, right? And so they said that shit. I was like, let's go, motherfucker. Let's go. Ain't shit wrong with me. Get in the car. Next thing you know, we're headed to the hospital. 17 years old, just got back and got blindsided by my parents from listening to other parents, right, in the community. I get in the hospital. I'm documenting this whole thing. I have all these videos still on my phone. I was like, they're trying to silence me. They're trying to take me down. And that was probably one of the worst days of my life. One of the worst days. That was one of the worst days in my life. I was in the hospital for 8+ hours. 8 hours, bro. I'm just thinking back now, like 8 hours. I was sitting there arguing with my parents. Everybody in there was talking shit. My parents were like, bruh. I was literally laying in a hospital bed for 8 fucking hours. And my parents everybody interrogating me on what's going on. Just because I made a left turn, just because I went off the path that they had prescribed me. And so that was very emotional for me. And I was on my Goggins motivational shit. I was like, you motherfuckers don't know me. I remember a social worker came into my cubicle, my room. I was in a hospital bed for like fucking 8 hours. He comes in there and he's like, I think that you need to go to the mental hospital. Bro, my reaction when he said that, I was so fucking pissed. I was like, you don't fucking know me? You just came in here like 5 minutes ago and you start talking to me and now you think I need to go to the mental hospital? I was like, get me the fuck out of here. I've been here for 8 damn hours arguing with my parents the whole fucking time. Like, fuck all you. I was on a different level. I was like, fuck all you motherfuckers, bro. Why the fuck am I in here right now? Oh, fuck, bro. Guess what they did? Guess what they fucking did to me? 17 years old. Just had surgery. Just because I wanted to go down a different path. Just because I maybe didn't want to play football anymore. They strapped me in the fucking hospital chair. Strapped me down. Hands, everything, bro. And they put me in a fucking ambulance and sent me to a fucking mental hospital. At 17 years old. Because I started to post on social media. My parents never even asked me anything. Like, what's going on? They didn't ask me shit, bro. They just listened to other people's parents telling, oh, Jason's going a little crazy. My parents didn't even talk to me about anything. They just sent me to a fucking hospital. Anyways, I get there thinking I'm going to be out in a day. Like, whatever. They're just bullshitting. Like, they're going to know I'm fine when I get in here. I get in there, bro. This is at the point where my foot's still fucked up. I'm in a boot. I can't walk on it still. They put me in a goddamn wheelchair in the mental hospital. I'm 17 years old. 17. Mental hospital. What the fuck's going on right now? I just went from being on top of the world, all the friends, football, to at the worst point of my goddamn life. In a fucking mental hospital. So, I'm in there. Thought I was going to get out in a day. And it's like torture in there. There's no clock or anything. I don't know what fucking time it is. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what's going on. I think I'm going to get out in a day. It's been like 3 days. They're telling me to take these pills, telling me to talk to all these little groups that they have in there. There's kids in there who are overdosing and doing all this crazy stuff at like 13 years old. Like depression, suicidal. I'm in there like, what am I doing in here? Like I didn't have any clue of why I was in there, and I didn't know how long I was going to stay in there. I thought it was going to be a day. It turned into 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. I was in there I was like, what's going on? And that was the most beneficial thing in my life. And it's because after that, I took control of my life when I was in there. And I had God on my side, and he told me, now he didn't, when I say this, he didn't actually talk to me, but he put something in my brain. There was this 13-year-old girl in there who was struggling with drugs, overdosing, all this stuff, right? And I made it a goal. I was like, I don't know how much time I'm spending in here, but my goal is going to try to help her become a better person by the end of my time in here. And that was my mission. I'm going to become a person who's going to help everybody in my cubicle become a better person. That is exactly what I told myself. And throughout the process, I became better. I tried to preach to everybody in there, even the people who worked there, my intentions to help everybody in here become a better person. And God is on our side. God is on our side. So I remember I asked for a deck of cards. I asked for a workout mat. I still had one operational leg. I had a wheelchair. Hard ass bed they gave us. It was so shitty, bro. It was so ass. Oh my gosh. I haven't even talked about this for a long time. And I just flip push-ups. Six of spades, push-ups. Six of clubs, push-ups. Six push-ups. 9 push-ups. 8 I would just go through the card deck. I'll go through the card deck, do push-ups, push-ups. I was becoming a fucking animal. I became an animal. And I vividly remember me in there telling people, I don't know why I'm in here. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing here. I'm going to help everybody in this cubicle. And that's exactly what I did. I was in there for like 6-7 days. Like, bruh, why am I in here? They're like, are you hearing voices? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what do you talk? The people who work there. I was like, what are you talking about? I hear voices. We all have this internal dialogue, but I don't hear fucking voices, bro. Like, get out of my room. Take this pill. So eventually I was like, okay, I gotta just take the fucking medication. I gotta answer these questions logically. Okay, whatever. I gotta start going into these groups and then I'm gonna get out of here. And that's what I did. I got out of there. I was in the mental hospital for like 6-7 days. Just because I was different than when everybody wanted me to be. My dad picked me up from the mental hospital. And the reason he said that I was sent there was because I failed a drug test in the hospital of marijuana, of weed. That blew my mind. They said that the weed somehow chemically changed my brain. I never even got a brain scan. My dad this was all hypothetical guessing bullshit. You guys sent me into mental hospital because I smoke weed. Do you know how many other people smoke weed? And like, all my friends smoke weed. Like, we smoke weed. It's not like it's not like I'm taking fucking Xanax and perks. It's weed. And that experience forever changed my life. And I'm thinking back about it now, and that was probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. It completely changed the scope and trajectory of my life this way. Not this way, this way. I did not want to play football anymore. I went to Miami of Ohio for 1 year, stopped playing football after 1 semester because I was not making the decision to do that. I was just listening to everybody in my family, right? I'm going to be this football star, blah, blah, blah. 1 semester, hardest decision of my life, and I quit playing football after a month. Dropped out of college because I did not feel like I'm a fucking rat going into the rat race. I just did not want to go to college. I'm not a guy who wants to learn and sit there and learn about bullshit. And I come home, and now I'm on this path of business, entrepreneurship, becoming the best version of myself. Now, if you watch my channel and you've watched my past videos, this is where I get my self-development. This is what I had to go through to get to the point where I'm at today. The reason that I feel this calling to talk to you guys and tell you my personal stuff, my personal details, what I went through, is because I know everybody who's watching this video has gone through something hard. But you have to look at it in a positive lens. That shit shaped you. That shit shaped me. I am the person I am today because I went through that shit. Because I went through that painful experience of being the outcast, of getting sent to a mental hospital at fucking 17 years old, to now being 21, being in the best shape of my life. I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I don't go out on the weekends. I don't club. It's because I went through traumatic experiences to get to the position I am today mentally. I don't think I would have been here mentally. I don't think I would be here right now if I didn't go through that experience. So if you're dealing with anything negative in your life, turn that shit into a positive, learn from your lesson, and be proud and grateful that God gave you that negative experience, that heartache, that suffer, that pain, so that you can grow from it and become a better person. right? He gives you challenges on purpose. Life is not easy. Life is meant to be hard. Jesus Christ himself went through pain and suffering, and he is one of the greatest humans to ever live. So what makes you think that you don't have to go through the pain and suffering to become the person that you want to become? This life shit is a game. And every day you can level up. Every day you can change your mindset and become 1% better. Don't be a victim. Be somebody who turns their trauma, their negative experience into something positive to help everybody else who's experiences something similar. And that's my calling, and that's why I make my videos. Now, I hope you guys can take bits and pieces from my story and implement them into your life. I'm here talking to you, trying to change lives. Watch my videos, and I guarantee you will become a better person. I had to go through a lot of shit to get to this position mentally. It wasn't easy. I had to go through pain and suffering to be dialed, to be in the best shape of my life. And now it's up to you to make that decision. Are you going to turn your negative experiences, your pain, your suffering, your trauma into positive, or are you just going to wallow in your sadness? You're going to stay over there. I suggest you take action, take control of your life, and lock in. Now, if you stuck to the end of this video, I thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you guys now understand why I can talk to you guys the way I do. It's because I went through some painful shit, man. And some of you may be in the comments like, bro, like that shit's nothing, like blah, blah, blah. Fine. I know there's people who've had it way worse than I have, but that just comes to my heart right now in the moment. I love you guys. I truly do. And I hope that you take bits and pieces from this video and implement them into your life so you can become a better person, right? I'm passionate about this shit. I hope you guys get value. I love you. I wish you the best of luck, and lock the fuck in.